Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking this morning because we're having leftovers because one son didn't eat yesterday. I have the extra stuffed bell peppers with the spiced lamb and seasonings. We're going to have that left over today so I can this morning. I'm actually going to make peach preserves. I already have my jars. They're half pints. When I say a half pint, that's a cup because 2 cups equal a pint. They're in water in my water bath canner, and this doesn't go there, Sandra. And I have a pot over here. Now what they want you to do is core and peel and chop up enough pears for a quart. I don't know how much that's going to be, so I'm going to be just chopping until I get to it. Now you will need a debubbler, a funnel, ladle or a measuring cup, or however you want to pour it into the jars. But the jars are heating up. I've got my lids and rims already washed. You're going to need a package of liquid, what do they call it, shore gel, liquid pectin. You're going to need sugar and lemon juice. And another thing is when you make preserves, and you will notice that you go through a lot of sugar. Do not be surprised. This is where women really use a lot of sugar, is when it comes to making their preserves. Well, what is wrong with this pear? This pear seemed to be going through a trauma. Well, they slam these packages around sometimes, and you can't help the packages they bruise your fruit up, and there's nothing I can do about that. So I don't know how many pears this is going to take. I bought 4 pounds. But I wanted to make sure. But we have to peel all of these, which I'm going to do. Cut the core out, take the stem off, and chop it finely. And you want 1 quart. And I'll be back because I've got a lot to do right now. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I have peeled, cored, and chopped. I'm making 2 quarts, but I'm going to be giving you the recipe for 1 quart. Okay, like I told you, my jars are already sitting in the pot, getting hot. You're going to put your pears into this big pot. Well, you're using a lesser amount than I am, but into a pot. Now, let me get the cookbook and I'll let you know how much sugar you're going to use. You need 7.5 cups if you're just making 1 quart, of pears, but I'm doubling it, so 7.5 for you and 15 for me. Okay, I have to move you back because I have to get another 7.5 cups. That's a lot of sugar. I'm sure I can hear you say she's got a lot. Yeah, but it's going in the preserves, the pear preserves. This is where when you start making your jellies, your preserves, and your conserves, this is where all the sugar really comes from more than anything. And you're not going to eat a ton of this at once. It goes on biscuits, sandwiches, or whatever you're going to use it for. All right. You need 1/4 cup lemon juice to make one batch. Remember, I'm doubling this, so I'm going to be doubling, but you use 1/4 lemon juice. Now you know what we're going to do? We're going to turn this on. Oh God, I miss my big spoon. I really miss my big spoon. I'll make sure I can get this sugar melted. So I'm going down low with it. I'm pulling some of the pears up so we can get the sugar down there to melt. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be careful not to burn this sugar, but we're going to melt and cook this. Hey, 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 don't get upset with me with the flames. So our jars by now are sterile, but I'm leaving them in there because everything has to be hot when we do this. Now what we're going to do is bring slowly to a boil, stirring until sugar dissolves. Then we're going to stir it in the liquid pectin. Why do I think this is going to boil like crazy? Stir until the sugar's melted. I can't even get to the bottom of the pot yet. Well, anyway, as it melts, I'll be able to get down there. So that's where we're at now. That's what we have to do. Now, we'll talk about the pectin. I use Shore gel. I'm going to take you away because that's got to do what it's got to do first before we can go any further. Now on the side, they have a date here. You have to make sure you have time. Once this expires and you use this, you have no guarantee that it's going to sit there and make your jelly or jams or preserves or whatever you're going to make with it. You have no guarantee. That's why you have to check those dates all the time and make sure that you use them. Now the date that I have for this one, oh, I got sugar on my counter, is the 9th of January 2025 at 7:45. I mean, they even give me the time on this. Sure Gels are really good about that. So you have to make sure that you always have that time. Now if you're only making one batch, remember I'm doubling it for me. You're going to need one packet. I need both packets of this, so I'm going to be using this whole box when it's time. And they don't want the powder, they want the pouch. Now I know pectin, they have apple pectin. I think cranberries, yeah, that's another one that's very high in sugar as well. I mean, sugar. Zip it. Pectin. Now, they say you can make your own apple pectin. I have never made it. I have a recipe for it, but I just haven't done it. Like I said, I have a lot of recipes. I just ordered a cookbook that was stolen from me over 50 years ago. And I finally found it. It took me 50 years. Don't worry. People love my cookbooks. Well, I don't know why you guys don't buy them, you know, the ones who take them from me. Just buy your cookbooks, you know. Anyway, we gotta wait for this. They say stir till the sugar melts, but I can't even get down there to do it. Well, you can hear some of it. So making preserves or jellies or jams, whatever you want to call them, they're all different, believe it or not. This is a jam. The biggest part of this whole thing is literally just getting everything ready. Once you get it ready and it has to cook and stuff, it's real easy. See, I'm just afraid I'm going to break this spoon too. I broke my other one and I'm very upset about that. But it is melting slowly. I think if I pick you up, you should be able to see that it is melting. You see? Now, they say one batch makes 7 to 8 half pints. So I'm not sure how much it's going to make. It's going to be 7 or 8, but I'm making at least 16. And this will definitely be a water bath. If I didn't tell you, it's definitely going to be a water bath because fruit is acid. See, they just want to make sure the sugar doesn't stick to the bottom and burn. When I did the peaches and I walked away for a minute, you saw the mess I had. I had a mess all on the bottom I had to clean up. You know what's funny? When you go to the store, they're so limited on what you can buy as jellies and preserves. But when you can, you're limitless of what you can do. They decide what you're going to have, and you can work with that. But a lot of women are going back to canning because they want more of a variety of life. There's got to be more than the simple little foods they give us. So we don't depend upon them to make our jams, our cans, some of our meals and stuff. We'll do it ourselves. because we can add our own flavors to them. We can change them around. We don't have to buy the little cans. We can buy in the big jars. We also aren't polluting the earth because we keep reusing these jars all the time until finally the jars just give out. And the lids are metal and rubber, which are too natural. So they'll break down and go back to the ground, come back around. Okay, I finally can get to the bottom of this. Now I feel this is going to do like the peaches. It's going to come way up, and I pray it does not go over. It might. Here, that sugar is still on the bottom, trying to wait for it to dissolve. I know I shouldn't take my eyes off of it. Now, some preserves that you make pop and bubble, and you can get burnt from them. You have to be careful. When my mother made certain ones, she wouldn't have me in the kitchen. Like a time I told you she was making, what was she making? Barbecue sauce. She forgot when she was blending everything up, she forgot to put the lid on the blender, and I heard her scream because she told me to get out of the kitchen because she didn't want me to get hurt. Well, she had red marks. The ceiling was a mess, and so were the couch. She had a mess all over because she forgot to put the lid on the blender when she went to blend all that hot vegetables and stuff together. That's why when I blend, I put my hand, bam, on top of it to make sure I remember. I don't want to go through what she went through. Okay. Now they want us to keep on stirring and stirring. Now I'm going to be doing this for a bit till it comes up to a rolling boil. I used to call it a royal boil because it was the highest boil you could get. But it's a rolling boil. And I'll show you what that is when we get to that point. But I'm going to give you a break from me. Now the sugar's dissolved. What you have to do is turn your heat up high and watch it like a hawk. When it comes to a rolling boil, you better stir it because it's going to overflow. Okay, it's climbing now. I haven't even put the pectin in yet. We're just trying to get it up to that boiling point. See how it's climbing? You don't want it. You got to keep on stirring this. I got to turn it down now because I have to get the pectin in it. Got to drop some. Don't worry, I'll turn it back up. I just have to get the pectin in it. And I'll turn it right back up and we'll get right back up there. No matter how big my pot is, it's going to go over the edge all the time. It's very difficult to do. This part I hate doing. It tastes good. Shoot! This is something you're going to have to watch out for. God, that hurt. That's going to be a blister. I just don't want to make another mess like that. I've had a heck of a time cleaning it up. This is why you don't have small children in the kitchen when you're canning, because they can get hurt. I mean, you're going to get blistered or something. It's going to boil, it's going to cook, and their fingers are going to be exposed. Dang. That's the royal boil that you see right here. I've got one hand that hurts too much now, it's burnt. So I hope your family appreciates what you go through with the canning. And this has got to boil hard for a minute, so you got to keep on stirring. Other than that, it will do what my peaches did, go over the edge. Oh no! Don't. Yeah, it's going to try. I used to have a bigger spoon than these, but I don't know where to buy them. I broke it. It was a wooden spoon, which was really nice. So see, you're over 220. This is why they want it a hard boil, so the pectin can gel. Okay, I'm gonna have to get you back. I want to rinse my hands. They hurt. They're a little on the hot side where I got burned. Oh, you'll see it. Oh. Okay. Okay. Oh, you're just gonna sit there and foam. Okay. Now what you're going to do is you can skim the foam off. When you pack it in the jar, you don't have it there. I usually don't worry about it, but this was a lot. I don't mind some, but not that much. And usually after you take it off the burner, if you stir it, you can stir it down and you don't have it. This one's just way too thick for me. please, when it comes to making jams and some canning, do not have a child close by at hand. It'll be very dangerous for them. Let me see if I can stir some of this down. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Well, I think that's about all I'm going to be able to get off, but I got a lot of it off. I say that's enough, and then what do? I keep on working. Oh, that's my finger that I burnt. I tell you, it's hot. We are handling a lot of hot equipment, so don't think it's fun and games here. It is not. Long burner. Turn this on low. Now let's see if we can get these up and out. I want to use the spoon, it works better. I have to pick up the tray that's sitting in there so I can get to the jars. And I don't want to stick my hand in boiling water. So I have to pick the handles up and set them so I can get to the jars. Okay. Now we can get to the jars. Now, in a pressure canner, you can double stack. In a water bath canner, you cannot stack. And I know you're not watching me when I'm doing, I'm just emptying the water out so I can get to these jars and fill them up. You're also going to have a 1/4 head space. This is going over there. All right, now we're ready. I got those out. I'm going to bring you down further, even if you're sitting on the floor. I know I could use the other half pints, but I like these little jars. I really do. So as you can see, canning is dangerous. That's why it's not wise to have children around when you're doing it. Now we're going to debubble. This is getting rid of the bubbles in the food, which can cause you a problem. I'm just being polite when I say it. It'll go rancid fast. I took a look and I didn't have many, had a lot of jellies and I had a lot of complements that go with meals and stuff. But I think I want to make a Carolina coleslaw and can it and serve it with sandwiches and stuff on the side as a vegetable. This is really good. Now what you're going to do very carefully without burning yourself, now that we've debubbled it, we're going to sit there and take some vinegar and you're going to wipe the rims of these so they will seal. And the reason I tell you to be careful is because the jars are very hot. You can burn yourself, and you don't want to put vinegar into your preserves. So you can use a paper towel or a napkin or a clean towel. You dip it in white vinegar and you wipe the rims down so the rubber can stick. Because in that heat, the rubber is going to melt as the air comes out and it's melting. But if it has jelly or something on it, it's not going to seal. If it has oil on it, it's not going to seal. Food on it will prevent it from happening. You know, I'm wondering what YouTube's going to do. If these cooks, and we're all cooks, when you go to YouTube and there's cooking shows, we're all cooks. What happens if we're reading the same recipe? I mean, what are they, you can't sit there and say that you took a recipe from somebody, because if you took it from the cookbook or a cookbook, you know, that's going to be very difficult, because people buy, especially women or people who cook, they do collect cookbooks. So I'm just wondering how they're going to deal with that. If somebody didn't follow somebody, but all what they did was take from they happen to have the same cookbook. That will be interesting how they're going to handle that. My thoughts, you know. By the way, this is 1/4 inch headspace, if I didn't tell you, and I still have half a pot there to can after. But I won't have the video going when I do the second batch. Okay. For 7 jars. I love these jars. They look so cute with preserves in them. The other ones are just so blasé. Now there's a bubble popped up on each one of these lids. Do not push it down. I know you're going to see my fingers resting around it, but I don't push it down. I just stabilize the lid so I can screw the rims on. Finger tight, that's all you have to do. You don't have to do it real tight. Come on. So make sure you put the lids on straight on it so the rubber can seal around the rim of the jar. And don't screw them too tight, only finger tight. If you screw them too tight, the air can't come out, and then you could end up with botulism. or when you go to pick it up, it can explode because that air is trying to get out. Okay, take the extra vinegar, pour it into the water you're cooking the jars in, and you do that because you want to keep your jars clear. Okay, let's see how I can get you over here again. We can keep on watching what I'm doing. All right. Now, we're going to put this down into the water. See, these were the handles I had to get up. Drop them in. You're going to bring this to a boil. These jars have to have at least 1 inch above them, the water level. In other words, these jars have to be totally surrounded by water to do the seal. I just turned my flame up on high. This has to sit because we can't do anything. Put the lid on. And when it gets to that point where we start timing it for 10 minutes, it's only going to be 10 minutes. I'll show you when we get to that point. I just want to clean up and get some cold water on this. This really hurts. Okay, now we're, see how much steam's coming out? Now we're going to clock it 10 minutes and then we'll be taking them out. Okay. It's been 10 minutes. When you open this lid, do not open it towards you or to left or to right. Open it away from you for safety, and you'll see why. See all that? That can burn you. Okay. Yes. Try to pick that tray up again. And you know, and I know, it's hot. Oh, God. Okay, where's my tongs? Here they are. And here they are as I take them out. Make sure you put them on a towel because they're hot. The counters are chilly, so you have to make sure they're popping as I take them out. You have to make sure that you sit there and put them on a towel or a cutting board, but do not put them on the counter directly from the jars because they're hot. The counters are cool. Now you see why I have so many towels laying around. In between making yogurt and buttermilk and the bread's rising, I also need them for my canning. So I have a lot of towels in the kitchen. Now I washed the jars, the lids, and the rims. Now tomorrow morning, if the bubbles are down, the center bubble, you can take the rim off. And then they're sealed, and you can wash the jelly, the vinegar and stuff off, dry them, and then date and write what it is, because if you sit there and say, oh, I'll remember, no you won't. We forget because we have so many things on our mind. So that's how you make Pear preserves. Last year I did spirited pears. I don't know if I'm going to do them this year. It's a little late in the season. I didn't have the money to buy the liquor. I would have showed you how to do that really good. Now you know when I put these in the hot water, I have to be careful. let's go. Never ever, this is something some people do. They put the jars directly on the bottom. You cannot do that either. They will crack. You have to have a tray down there. If you don't have a tray, they recommend a towel. I tried the towel just to see what would happen. To tell you the truth, I will not recommend it because the jars started floating sideways because the towel wanted to come up, so that didn't work either. All right, so let me get this on this burner and get this second batch going. All right, now I know that water is hot, so I'll just put it on simmer, and we'll get this over here. And I'm going to finish up this batch, and then I've got to start my mustard because I ran out of mustard. I'm on my last jar. Spicy as well as golden. So listen, I want you to take care and have a great day. I'm going to be canning today, but at least I've already showed you how to make mustard, so it's no reason for me to show you a second time around. And I thought you'd like to see how pear preserves are made, because you can't buy them in the store. This is where we lose so much. They tell us what we're going to be able to have. I'd like to have currant jam. You can't find it in the store. I'll have to get currant and do it myself. I have the light off, if you must know. Here. So listen, you take care and have a great day. And by the way, if you go to do a second batch and you're using the same water, you don't have to add vinegar again. Once you put it in on the first batch, you still have the vinegar in the water, so you don't have to worry. So you don't have to keep on adding water into it every time you do a batch, as long as you get the first one in, because that water is then vinegary. Listen, so take care. Bye-bye.